So this child was a case of poliomyelitis in 2006. He had a very high-grade fever, and that was followed by weakness of only one side of the leg. This is the limb which is flaccid. If you make the child walk, he will not be able to support it with his left leg. And by examination, he still has hypotonia, flaccidity. Nobody is taking care of the immunization of this child.
बताइए अब ये पोलियो मार दिया तब इसको जिंदगी बर्बाद हो गया
The human condition is that if you're not faced with a problem, you're not going to think about it. I doubt that people in this country realize the extent of polio in the rest of the world.
Good morning. Mikhail Davenport. Thank you very much.
Even though polio has been eradicated, per se, in the United States, there's no reason it can't cross the border from Canada or Mexico or come in with someone from another country. And all it takes is one carrier, and it starts all over again. The day I got polio, it was right after Christmas. I was playing with trains. And I stood up to go do something, and I collapsed. And I complained to my mother that I had a headache and was feverish. And, of course, you know, the first thing they did was rush me off to the doctor. I remember that I was the only kid in kindergarten that had polio, and that I had kids wanted me to take off my long leg steel brace and let them wear it because that was something different, you know. So I would, you know, lie up under the tree and not be able to walk around, and they would like limp around with my brace and pretend to be me, and it was like a big deal. During the epidemics of the 30s and the 50s, people were scared to death to let their kids out during the summer to go to public pools. People were afraid to congregate in large groups because they didn't know how polio was spread. You never knew who was going to get sick. It was like the angel of polio would go around and poke at people and go, okay, you get polio, you get polio, you get polio. The health officials had no idea how to combat it. They didn't know what to tell people. Quarantine was the usual thing to do because, like with any smallpox or typhoid or tuberculosis outbreak, you quarantine people. Maybe 40% of the polio patients from the epidemics in the 50s survived. And the rest of them had to go through some very painful surgeries and physical therapy. My earliest memories of what it was like was hearing the cries of other children. Excuse me. Hearing other children cry and wail and scream in pain because it's an extremely painful disease. To be able to keep children from having to go through what I and all the other polio patients went through is so important. Nobody should have to suffer like that.
ठीक है ना, किसी किसी का निशान ठीक नहीं है, तो इसका निशान ठीक है. ये कहाँ एक ही बच्चा है. We used to miss kids in here. The teams never used to come in these places. But like now we have a mobile team working in here and trying to immunize kids in all these houses. तो आपका टीम नंबर 122 है. मैं ये मान नहीं सकता हूँ ना कि आपने काम किया. मैं बोलूँगा कि आप चुपचाप घर में बैठे हो. आप बोलोगे कि आंगनवाड़ी आशा ने काम किया. This is an area of high transmission zone. The virus is transmitting in here. We do not want this virus to go to other states. वहाँ से मत निकल जा, सीधा निकल जा. वो ओवरब्रिज वाला चेक नहीं कर रहा है. नाखून, बच्चे का नाखून चेक कर रहा है. इन पे नहीं भरोसा करना. हमारा वो नहीं है, हम सिर्फ चेकिंग भी करना चाहते हैं. ठीक है ना, मतलब हम चाहते हैं कि
a virus is extremely opportunistic. It's an animal. It's looking for somewhere to roost, and to hide. So if that virus can continue to survive in other parts of the state, and a child or families get on a train because somebody's got to get a job, or they've moved to a brick factory, or because there's a chance to harvest, that virus is sitting in some child's gut. And it gets off the train, and because of poor sanitation, that virus will be spread into the environment.
It's important that every child continue to be vaccinated against polio because polio still exists in the world. And infectious diseases don't respect frontiers. A disease in India today could be carried to the US tomorrow, or a disease in Nigeria today could be carried to Mali the next day.